Hi, ladies. Welcome back to the She Lifts podcast. Today, you are going to hear a story about a 180 change in life, not just for this beautiful woman, but also for her husband. It is a story of changing generational traumas. It is a life twist around, and it's all through her own actions, just that kick up the butt that you need sometimes to just own your shit and change it. So my guest today is an amazing woman from our gym of OTB and a good friend, Joy.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Joy. I'm so proud of you. I just want to start by saying that first and foremost. But before we get into the story of who you are today, and anyone that's watching this right now and has trained in the gym with Joy or seen your story in any way whatsoever will see you and be like, God, she's amazing and she trains and she's got her babies and her partner trains together and their goals. But I want them to know the story behind all of that because that's a new journey for you guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So where did you grow up and what was life like for you when you were growing up?
So I'm 32 years of age. I was born here in Middlemore Hospital, and my mum and my dad separated and I was about 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
So she moved me over to Brisbane and met my dad, who then they both gifted me 5 brothers.
Yeah.
So I'm the oldest of 5 boys, and I grew up in Australia, in Ipswich, since I was 12, and then moved back here to Auckland when I was 13. So I was raised a bit in Beds Road, Otara, Otahu, and then my parents then bought a house in Manurewa, so I stayed in Finlayson. Weymouth Intermediate was where I started my school years and then finished off my high school years at Manurewa High School, though I got kicked out on my last day. But I managed to come back. And then, believe it or not, I actually had to go and pick up my business. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh my gosh.
Like certificate?
Certificate.
Oh, yeah, got you.
And so the deans that didn't like me, they were like presenting me the certificate. I'm like, that's right.
Shake my hand. I'm back.
Yeah. Oh, scholarship. Sorry. It was.
True.
Yeah, to MIT. And I was sitting next to all the ducks and I was like, they're like, what are you doing here, Moira? Oh, and by the way, Moira is my legal name, but Joy was a given name by my godmother because when I was a child, I was always smiling all the time. My dimples as well. So I was a chubby little girl. And then, so
that's beautiful. Because, I've seen on the app and stuff like that, it's Moira.
Yeah.
But then in life, we all call you Joy. I love that was a given name.
Yes, it was.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And Moira was a given name by my mum's close friend. She owns Bingakis in Otahu. So it's the ones with the pork buns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was named after her.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So what was it like growing up as the biggest sister to 5 brothers? What was that like?
A lot of pressure. So it was similar to how Rue was. So I had to do everything for my mom. Like when they were working long hours, I'd always be the one changing their diapers, figuring out how to deal with their tantrums, and also trying to figure out how to hang out with my cousins without having to drag my little brothers along all the time. Yeah. I think that's where I fell into depression at a young age at that time because of the amount of stress that I was going through.
Yeah.
Also with the, like I was telling you about being molested by a close family member.
Yeah.
And so when times were getting rough, I would always resort to I'll just silence myself. I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
I'll act up at times, but just the fear of having someone else look after me on days that my parents would trust this man looking after me and my brothers. I just shut off to the point that whatever happens. I just have to let it go,
get through it.
Yeah.
Just got to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the being molested, did that happen more than once?
Yes.
Yeah. And was it someone that was meant to be caring for you?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Did you tell anyone or you just shut down straight away?
Yeah, I shut down. I did tell my mum one time and she just gave me a blank stare and didn't want to talk so much about it, which kind of like now thinking about it, I don't know how they were raised back then, but I'm pretty sure molesting family members
is not normal
and not speaking about it, or just speaking about it actually,
yeah,
it's trouble.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous thing to talk about because they don't want to go and confront it, unlike some other parents they would.
Yeah. And you don't want to be the one that like shakes the tree or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be the one because you're scared of like what will fall out and will they turn on me and which is, it's so difficult. So I have been through that also and have told people that in my head I'm like, you're supposed to protect me, and then nothing happened. And I remember just being like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and that's why that, to be honest, is why I've become the person that I am now. That's why I'm so freakishly protective of OTB. Right. Like, because for me, I'm like, all these women that come through OTB, if something's happened to you or happening to you, like I'll be the one. I don't care who I upset. I don't care the backlash. If you're going through something, I'll scream it. I'll protect you. I'll do it, because that feeling of being like, help me, and then not getting it, it does like manifests and just shut down and shut up.
Exactly.
Because it's obviously not that big of a deal. And that's just horrible. So for you, how long did that go on for you?
Since I was 10 years. So when I came here to New Zealand from Australia, it stopped, and he never did it to me. But then what kind of brought it back to life again was seeing someone close to me actually going through the same thing. And I just,
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Because you want to help them too, but you don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I could say was we would just talk about it with each other.
Yeah.
And then we left it as that. And since then, I've not really spoken about it. During the times when I started to get heavy into alcohol, and my partner was into alcohol, and it was such a shit show. Like I have spoken so much about it to everybody. Like strangers will be like, oh my gosh, like, are you all right? And then there's ones that's been hearing it so many times, they're like, oh, she just needs to get help, she just was sick of it, like blah blah blah. And I understand, you want to have a good time, but then I also had to like figure out, how am I gonna like make myself stop from thinking so much about it and then attacking people that didn't have anything to do with my traumas.
Yeah. Because it's hard too, because it becomes something that it's been done to you, but now you hold it and you continue that hurt and label yourself with it. And it becomes like so much a part of your story, but not in the right way.
Right.
Like you use it as like, yeah, but I was molested when I was little, or what, and it's really difficult I can understand when people are like, oh my God, like you need to get help, because it's true. You do need to get help. You do need, but sometimes the help needs to come from you being like, this can't own me anymore. Like, I'm happy to talk about this. I'm happy to share, but like, how does this pain and trauma that I've been through, how's it going to help someone else or myself?
Right.
And sometimes it just comes down to like for me, my big thing is, I'm just really happy to, like, I'm happy to shed light on shit that people don't want to shed light on. I'm happy to do it. Like, and like for me, I've told my son a million times, my son's 17, and I know that like lots of people, a lot of the time sexual abuse and molesting and things like that, we think straight away, we think of our girls. But I've always thought of like, I just think of my son, because I know that it can happen to anybody. And I have told him a million times, if anything ever happens to you, I don't care who it is, I don't care what it is, you tell me and we'll figure it out. Because I'm like, I couldn't care less who it is. If I have to shake the tree, like even if it's the closest family member to me, I'll scream it from the rooftops. And people can call you a liar and whatever. I don't care. Like, because that's what we didn't have. Imagine if you had told your mum and she'd been like, right, I'm going to sort this out, and been like, you touched my daughter and that is not going to happen. That is disgusting. You would have been like, wow, like it mattered.
Yeah.
But in that moment you were told, shh, doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Just figure it out. How are you going to cope with it? So because when you were younger, looking after your younger siblings, and you said that that's sort of where you sunk into depression a little bit, what did that look like for you? Like, what does depression look like for you?
Just sitting in the room, not wanting to interact with anyone, stabbing yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
So self-harm.
Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
maybe like quite some time.
Yeah.
And the first time I looked at myself in the mirror, I said to my mum, do I not belong here? Because I'm sick and tired of my cousins telling me I'm not blood related. My dad's not my dad. Like, who's Samantha? And that's my step sister. I love her, but it was just some things that were triggering at that time. And my mom did one time actually go up to my cousin and say to her, hey, why are you saying these things to my daughter? And it was a sad time for me at that point. But yeah, I remember picking up the pen and I was just like smacking my face with it first, and then I started stabbing my chest. And my mom just said to me, like, I'll go sort it out. I'll go. And so she went and said that, and I looked at my cousin and she just felt so defeated, and I didn't know how at that time in her mind, how were you taught these things to say things, and how do you not feel for another little girl
that you've hurt
and you've hurt her like that? And so yeah, since then I've never wanted to go around women that would gossip about others. I just didn't. I could not
hurt
someone else like that. And and that's where I feel like I'm glad that my godmother had gifted me that name, because I do live by being joy.
Yeah.
I love being kind. I love being just loving towards others. I love to give that kind of warmth for someone that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Because of what I've gone through as a child and as a girl, I don't like to be around mean girls, even though if they are like that, still kind of shed that kind of love to, hopefully that would help them.
It might be just what they need, because that's probably what they're lacking.
Yeah. But then other than that, it's like I've, like, looking at me now, I've actually picked up a lot of toxic traits from my mum and from, from my cousins. I forgive them for what has happened in the past, but I'm not going to lie, it's now gone into a space where I actually am like that sometimes. Like, I would be looking at other women at the gym when me and my partner is like going out to do our sessions, and I'm just like, are you looking at that girl? Like, oh my gosh, you probably looked at her ass, like, all those things. And that's me being truthful. Like, I don't want to be like that. I need to be more confident in myself and forget about the insecurities that I have, because, we are all different. And I just had to learn to stop being so negative about myself.
Yeah. It's difficult too when, like, especially, you are someone that when you see someone, you see them. Like, you've invested so much. The short time that you've been with OTB, you've invested so much in OTB, as in, like, you watch every podcast, you comment on people's posts, you engage with people, you know things about people that I'm like, how do you know that? Like, that's so, but it's because you see people. And I think it's possibly because growing up you didn't feel properly seen, maybe because people were like, oh, you're not blood related, you're not this, you're not that. Like, when you get isolated like that and you don't feel included, you become either a very toxic person that's going to cut everyone else off so everyone else can feel what you feel, or I think what you did is you turned that pain on yourself so you could make yourself feel that, but you want to make sure, from what I've seen of you, you want to make sure that everyone feels included and seen, and you're just like, from the moment that you came in, just such a loving, joyful person for everyone. And like, I know that you've picked up toxic traits that you're talking about, and we'll definitely get into that. But those are things that, like, if you're aware of it, you can actually change it. Right. So I was a school teacher for like 12 years or something. And there were different courses that we went through, like trying to help kids with like anger management and, feelings and emotions and trying to regulate themselves. Mm-hmm. And one of the things in one of the courses that we did was a catchphrase called, if you can name it, you can tame it. Mm-hmm. And I picked up on that massively for the kids too, but for myself, where I was like, actually, if I can sit with a feeling and name that feeling, I can now tame it. So like, I fully believe as a human, we should always feel every spectrum of the emotions that we have. Every human should feel and like honor and have a moment for jealousy, because we all feel it. And if we try and say that we don't, we'll never have a moment to be like, let me just see what that looks like. That's why I always ask people when they say, I've got anxiety or depression, and I always ask them, like, what does that look like for you? Because a lot of the time people will be like, oh yeah, I've got depression. And if you ask them, what does that look like? They'll be like, I'm just sad all the time. I'm like, yeah, but what are the actions that come from it? Mm-hmm. Because if you can say, I feel jealousy, and then if you can say that for me looks like I'm jealous of this girl, now I take it out on my partner, that doesn't relate, because you're jealous of her. It's you felt that. You have to own it and figure it out. And if you're in a safe space with your partner where you can be like, hey, I'm having a feeling of, or like today when we went to the gym, I had a feeling of jealousy about a girl that was there, and it's not your responsibility to not look or anything like that. It's my responsibility to deal with it. But I just want to let you know, like, she looked really beautiful and I was very jealous of her figure, and I want to talk that out with you. He will probably be the best person to talk with, because he will tell you a million things that he loves about you. Like, how many kids have you guys got together? 3, 4?
3.
3. You know, like that girl might have this beautiful body and that, but she didn't give him 3 children. Do you know what I mean? And it's things like that, having that conversation where sometimes, especially because I struggle with jealousy, or I did struggle with jealousy. It's real weird, because I was like, I didn't think I would ever live a life where I wasn't jealous. Like, I'm serious. And like woman to woman jealousy for me was like horrific. I was the actual worst. I would be jealous of everything and nothing at the same time. It just was like, that was the only emotion I thought that I had. Whereas like, and I've just flipped it, because I was telling the girls at check-in today, and it sounds extremely big-headed, but I actually don't care anymore. I love myself. I think I am the greatest in the world. Like, I honestly have worked so freaking hard to get where I am, and I just absolutely love who I am, warts and all. My laziness and my stupid mindset that I have sometimes, like all of it, I love it all, because I'm like, you've worked through some shit to get here, girl. And that's what I think. So when I see other girls, I just make it very realistic, where I'm like, she may look beautiful and amazing, but she's just the same as me, and she has a bad mindset, and she probably looks around the room and gets a little jealous too.
Right.
And I just change it and will be like, you're beautiful. Like, and that's what I love about OTB. That's why I love the way that OTB is.
Yeah.
Because we like, if we think someone looks amazing, beautiful, whatever, it could be, oh, I'm going to turn it into jealousy. But we don't do that here. We tell them.
Yeah.
So it's like something that I would, if we leave it in here and in here, this place, which is so freaking dangerous, if we leave it up here for too long, it turns into jealousy and it turns into bad actions where we take it out on the wrong people. But if we actually just go, oh, I feel jealous. Okay, why do I feel jealous? Because she looks really good. What?
That doesn't make sense.
That's stupid. You don't be jealous because she looks good. Tell her she looks good. And guarantee it, I'm not even joking you, any woman that you're like, you look good, they're either going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, because I was feeling really self-conscious, or they're going to be like, are you kidding me? Look at you. If we just dispel this thing that society tells us, like girl versus girl, jealous, jealous, jealous. But like, I fully get that. And I think, I hope, and I know that it's really hard to work through those, but I just hope that you realize like how incredible you have been for all the women here at OTB. That's why like chatting to you I was like, we have to tell your story, because everyone sees you as Joy, this like beautiful, put together mother of 3, partner working out at the gym, like couple goals. And then when you shared your story with me, I was like, holy crap. Because people will look at you and be like, oh, she's got it together, lucky her. Yeah. So let's get into your story. What was Joy like before OTB and before this journey? You and your husband.
So I was a stay-at-home mom, and after start from the time when my son was born, my first son, Tyson, in 2020, and he made his grand entrance.
What a tough time to be having kids too.
Oh, yes, during COVID.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was happy that my partner was able to get a place for us in Rewa, because we were staying in his mom's garage, and it was cold, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of getting a house, because I was like, oh, we're going to just move over to my mom's house. But that didn't happen. So we moved into our first home in Manurewa. And then from then on, Zach was still working, but The only problem was that he still had at the time was drinking. So he carried on the whole drinking, because when we met, we were just drinking all the time. And then when I felt pregnant, obviously I had to stop, and he would still have his drinks here and there.
What was your relationship like when you would drink? Like when you would drink together, was it happy, good, you'd have a good time? What did it look like?
It was always like domestic violence. Like, the cops would get involved. My parents would be getting involved. There's so many meetings that we had to have. So, because we're Samoans, when there's family issues, we would have family meetings. And then, the dad has to be the one to put their foot down and say, you need to stop. And, I just had so many problems at that time that old stuff started coming in as well. And then, motherhood was kicking in, and then I just felt like, oh my gosh, like my partner just drinks all the time. All these people come over, they don't even want to ask, like, how are you? Like, are you okay? Because I had no idea what this feeling that I was having at the time. I was like, I think this is postpartum depression, but I don't know if it's just me being angry, because I was diagnosed with anger management.
Yeah.
So I had to go take anger management classes.
Yeah.
So just because I was catching court cases and at the same time, just...
What were some of the things that you'd do when you were angry? Like what did you do?
I'll smash things around the house.
Yeah.
I would, I'll abuse my partner at times. Mostly it would be during the times when he would be drinking, and that's where all my anger just started to build up. I'd be like, F you, like, what the fuck is going on? I'll even swear in front of his family members and friends. Like, I don't care who was there. I would just tell them, like, I actually don't need to tell you that I don't want you guys here, but if I'm yelling at my partner, you guys all need to go.
Yeah.
And, as from his side, like his family, obviously they want to protect their cousin and make sure that everybody's okay.
Yeah.
I had no one. I did not want to go and get my family involved. But, me being the sister, I'll be like, I'm going to go get my brothers.
Yeah.
And so, it was just so all over the place at the time.
Yeah. Was there a moment where you were like, what the heck? Like, was there a wake-up moment where you realized, like, oh, my God, this is my anger? Because when I listen to your story, there's so many times where I feel like the trigger for you is, like, loneliness and not being seen.
Yes, that's one of the, like, that's the top.
Yeah. And I can feel that in, like, so many of the moments that have happened in your life. Like even your parents splitting when you were young and then you moving over to Australia. You're like little but in this new place being like, I don't even know this place. And then you set your roots there, and you get these siblings and you have this family that you're like, wow, this is so cool, with a dad that you are like, this is my dad, even though we call them stepdads, but you're like, this is my dad, my mum, my dad, my brothers, we're all related. This is so amazing. This is really great. And then you set your roots. Everything's really awesome. And then you're uplifted from there and you come to New Zealand and you have to resettle and figure out like, oh, okay, this is my cousin. But then they're like, well, you're not even blood related. Like you're not actually my cousin. She's my cousin, but from someone else. And then you just constantly feel like alone, unseen, asking your mum like, do I not belong here? All those things. So when you hold that for so long and not even understanding, like not being able to name it, so you can't tame it, like not understanding what those things are. And then you get to a relationship and we all think like, oh, a relationship is going to be amazing. They're going to be all about me. We're going to be together and connected and this is great. And then you don't get that. For you manifests in anger as opposed to, sadness, and it came out as like angry emotions. Was there a moment where you realized like, oh my God, it's me that's the issue?
Yes. It was during the time when I think my second born. Yeah. And my parents had come over again. And oh no, actually it would be the time when I was in the cell and I had gone over to my mother-in-law's home and I did some things that I really do regret. And then when I got into the paddy wagon, that's when I just looked at myself. I was like, oh my gosh, like going into the cold cells, and I was just crying, like, oh my gosh, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I always like this? I need to stop reacting towards things that I could be the problem. And my cousin that was working there at the time, she was a corrections officer. She walks in and she's like, and I just looked at her, and then I looked down and I just bawled out in tears, and she was like, I'll come talk to you after. And then I said, okay. I didn't eat any of the little snacks that they gave to me. I just asked for a blanket and I want to go home. And then, that's when I went home. The emptiness of my home, like not hearing my kids. There was no electricity at the time. The bills were not paid. The water was just high and it was just cold. And those past couple of days that I was there, I just slept in my room with my kids' blankets and I was just crying. And then it was not until when my brothers came and they were like, you need to get up and do something, Joy. Like, you can't be living like this. And I'll just be messaging my partner, like, when are you coming back home with the kids? I'm sorry. But, you know, even he had to tell me like many times, we're not going to come back until you make a change, Joy. Like, you can't just keep doing this every single time. Our boys are young and they were like 2 and 1. A couple months my youngest at the time. Yeah. And that's when I just had to say, like, okay, I need to do something. I can't just keep bringing up my old stuff and just make it as an excuse. I need to do something. Just like when I applied for doing a 3-day trial. I did it one time. I didn't come back, but I came back. So it was good. And since then, this has helped me mentally to, you know, be more aware of the things that I do and taking responsibility and accountability to, you know, push myself even more. And it has. And I'm not fully there yet, but the steps that I've been taking now and just coming to the classes, it's just been so good. Yeah. And I feel more uplifted of myself, and it's helped my partner to where he is at right now. Yeah. He's been like, this is 3 months of him being sober from alcohol.
Which is amazing. So let's get into that part of it. Because like, I think everyone's got a picture now of where you've come from and why I thought it was so important for you to share your story. For people to understand that the Joy that they've met at OTB is only new. And she's just blossoming. Yeah. Because where you've come from is, there's a lot of people that are going to relate to a lot of what you said.
Yes.
And a lot of the times when we talk about domestic violence, a lot of the times the things that we see, it's male versus female. And sometimes we forget that, like, you know, we can be angry women too. Yep. And we can bring some really toxic things into relationships. And to own that, for you to own that, like so openly when we were having conversations and you were like, no, it was like, I beat him up. It was me that was the issue. Like, as much as, you know, he had his wrongs too, you were like, no, it was me. Yeah. So tough to admit that. Yeah. Because I do feel sometimes like we get a little bit of a pass as women to be like, we had a fight, you know, and everyone's going to be like, what the hell? Oh my God, he's terrible. But you were like, no, I'm going to accountable. I was there too. Right. I started that too. I got involved in that too. And I just think like, just insane. The amount of accountability and self-awareness that you have is amazing. But I need people to understand where you came from so that they can realize how incredible you actually are. Yeah. Because it's just such a change. So you signed up for a 3-day trial, came to one class and got wasted and were like, I'm not going back. That place is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The true story, eh?
Yes. I was like so sore. I'm not going to lie. I went for cold showers. We don't even have a bathtub. And I was like, oh my gosh.
How do I fix this?
I couldn't even go down the stairs. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. You got to take the day off, babe. Like, I really can't look after the kids because I'm feeling sore right now. Yeah. And I only did like a couple of like, you know, all these little lifts.
That was just so brand new to you, right?
Yeah. And then I was like, no, I'm not going back. Like, I don't want to do
Screw
this.
that place. They're crazy.
Yeah. And then what made it even more eye-opening for me that I missed out a lot of stuff was when I did High Rocks, when I decided to come and do the UT24 challenge. Yeah. And I was like, what's this High Rocks about? Like, I want to know. I'm curious. Came to the first 5 a.m. and I was like, oh my gosh, I am not going to show how traumatized I am right now. It was like giving birth. It was the same as giving birth. I was like, I went in the car and I was contemplating like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. What the heck?
Who are these people?
High-fiving each other. Yeah.
Me sis loved it.
Man, I was, oh my gosh. Yeah, but I was so glad I did it. And now I love it. Like it's one of the classes that helps me push myself mentally.
Yes.
And, you know, shout out to Katie. Honestly, I love her vibes. Every time when she's shouting your name and stuff.
Man, you know you better move, eh? You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's scary, but she's also so good.
Yeah.
What I wanted to share for just, you know, for her to know that, like, I love my mom dearly, but, you know, just something about Katie that really kind of made me feel like that's the kind of attention I wanted from my mom. And so, yeah, I did private message her one time to say, like, you know, thank you. And I didn't know how tough Katie was. And she was like, she was like, you know, when you messaged me, I was like, but because I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, oh, I kind of knew now.
You're like, I know who you are. I know your type.
So she doesn't like flowers. She's not a flower kind of girl.
She likes boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Boxing gloves or gym gears.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, eh? That's so cool. So when you signed up, so you signed yourself up to UT24, not your partner.
No,
just
I did.
you.
Yeah.
And you were like, I need to sort myself out. What was the conversation between the two of you like then?
So I'll tell him so many times, like, I want to go and join a gym. And he's like, yeah, you know, you keep saying it, but you never go. And so I'll be like, oh, okay. And then it just got to the point, I just randomly did it. Like, and then up until the UT24 challenge, that's when things had to, I had to make a change. Like, you know, I've got 6 months, I've got to commit to this. And, you know, all the background noise about, you know, my thoughts of, oh, Joy's just, she's never going to change. You know, she needs to do something, like those kind of voices.
Comments that people have said or...
Oh, no, I'd say it was mostly of my thoughts.
Oh, that you'd say to yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of what I always think that's what people think of me.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because of the stuff that I've realized that I was wrong on what I was doing towards everybody. Yeah, that's when I had to, you know, join this to get myself out of where I was before.
Yeah. And so now, so you guys are on this journey, you're 14 weeks in.
Yeah.
When did your partner jump on with you?
On the day.
Yeah.
So on the week it was the second week where he decided to sign up at City Fitness.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is how much I didn't know so much of him. It's like back then when we were drinking, he would always say, oh, you know, back then I used to do this and that at the gym. I'm like, whatever. And then, you know what? He shut me up once when we went to this City Fitness and he knew what to do with the machines.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with my my wannabe, like, I know, because I was with OTB for only 2 weeks.
You're like, I've been here 2 weeks. I actually know everything now. So.
Yeah. And he was showing me how to do all these dumbbell stuff. And I was like, I'm doing it right. Like, that's where I need to also, I had to also see that I was doing some stuff that was wrong towards him. And I'm working on it. Yeah. But yeah, him telling me how to do things, I have a problem with. No, like, I'm doing it this way. And he even said to me, he's like, you know, when Dan is coaching, right? Or even, you know, oh no, it's just Dan most of the time, the male. He always would say something to you, do it like this, you listen. But when it comes to me listening to him, there's a problem. And oh man, that my heart sunk. I was like, that's true, because not only do I not listen to him, I listen to the stuff that my brothers tell me that I need to do, and I'll be like, nah, yeah, you're right, and then he'll be like, and then even with your brothers, like you tell me your brother was saying that you need to be like this, you take their advice, but when I say the same thing that they said, you don't take it. Wow. And I never looked at it like that, and why
do you think that is?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Do you think maybe a little bit you've got like resentment or anger towards him because of his drinking? Yes. Do you think you hold on to that?
And also with the fact that back then when my dad used to, you know, domestic violence growing up, my dad being the strong man in the household, I would always look at my dad and be like, why is he always like that? Mum never says anything. Like, just,
Right.
yeah. And I feel like I just want to be the powerful one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I feel like that's why I'm like that towards
It's funny because, so like my parents are beautiful. Like my mum and dad are so beautiful. I grew up in like this amazing Christian family. But at like 14, maybe 15 years old, I moved out and lived with this boy. I was an idiot for doing it, by the way. I apologize, mum and dad. Big mistake. And it was a horrible relationship. And so I just saw all these things that I had been sheltered from my whole life because I had these like this wonderful family and like wonderful, and I just saw just things that I was like, oh my, what the fuck is this? But I had secluded myself so much that I couldn't go anywhere. And so in that moment, like so I had that horrible relationship, and then every relationship that I went into afterwards, I became this very toxic, horrible person to be with that was extremely jealous, but I would never admit that I was the one that was wrong.
Right.
Ever. So we'd have arguments that I 100% had started, but it was never my fault because I was like, you're a dude yelling at a girl. Like, you're the issue.
Yeah.
I'm just a little lady. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by like, sometimes we do have a little bit of a past where we can like egg them on, get them absolutely riled up, and then be like, oh, look at you. You're so abusive, or you're this or you're that. But having that moment, and like, it took me quite a while to figure it out. And then when I got a boyfriend that wouldn't stand for it, he was just like, no, that's a you issue. I couldn't rile him up. Like I just couldn't get to him. And he was like, that's a you issue, and I can see what you're doing there, and you need to sort that out. And I was like, how fucking dare you? And I realized it was me. I had this, I would listen, like same as you, I've got brothers. I would listen to brothers, I'd listen to my dad, I'd listen to all these other people. But when it came to a partner, I was like, you don't tell me what to do. I'm a strong woman, I don't need you.
Right.
Like, don't even. Whereas like now I'll go to Richie for advice on everything. I also do sometimes bite back. Like, you don't know. Like when he tells me to run. Yeah. He's trying to tell me that I need to get into running. He's like, if you got into running, you'd be awesome. I'm like, you don't understand my body type.
Oh my gosh, yes.
He's been in the fitness industry since forever. He knows so much more than me, but I will tell him all the time, you don't understand. I'm trying to build muscle. You don't understand my body type. If I run, I'll be so skinny. He's like, the amount you eat, girl, I don't think so. Yeah. Like he's genuinely like, your metabolism is incredible. Just, you need to run. He's like, for your mental health, like not for the body, just run for your mental health. Like, you're a cuckoo woman. But I genuinely like and it's things that, it's things I'll bite back. And I know now, like I'm glad that I'm self-aware now because I'll know when I do it and I'm like, sorry, it's because you're making me do something I'm not good at. Making me, I feel like I look like an idiot, like, and that could be it for you. Like maybe a little bit of resentment there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of resentment. I should have thought about that too because I did think about that with my parents. Yeah, there was a lot of resentment. Also with just my mum as well, taking accountability on the things, even though they worked so hard to get to where they're at right now. I feel like, it's happened to me, but that does not mean that I need to like fall off the rails and start doing the same thing. Yeah. It is to just really strengthen me as a woman and as a mother and as a partner to not what to do to my towards my partner and to my kids, and just treating everyone that I know and love still with all that love and care, even though I didn't have as much as it, because I don't know how my parents grew up. My mom doesn't really talk much about her upbringing, and that's how me and my mom's relationship is like. It's like, my mom lived a really good life and she had it all together, whereas my aunties are saying, oh, your mom, she was like this, and I'll be like, oh, okay, never mind. I'll just leave it like that. So now I get it, but I love my mom still, regardless. You only get one parent.
100%.
Of one set of parents. So, and
And it's also one of those things to remember, like, this is her first time living this life as well. Yeah. So she's learning too, and that's because like I told myself a million stories about my upbringing for example, when I moved out, I told myself for years that my parents kicked me out. And I told everyone that would listen that my parents kicked me out. My mum and dad kicked me out of the house at such a young age. They did this, they did that. They weren't even there for me, da-da-da. The real story, now that I'm finally an accountable woman and not a little bitch. The real story is that they gave me an ultimatum knowing that I was in a terrible relationship and they could not stand by watching it anymore. And they said to me that you need to start going to church and live in this house and break up with that boyfriend. Otherwise you can't live under this roof.
Right.
They didn't kick me out. They just didn't want to see me get abused anymore. And they had helped and helped and helped. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to pack my stuff and go. They did not in any way kick me out. They did not isolate me. They rang me all the time. I just didn't talk to them. I just wouldn't take their phone calls.
Wow.
But I would tell everyone that would listen, oh, they don't talk to me anymore. Oh, I don't know. They don't tell me. They don't contact me.
Yeah.
They kicked me out. That was the story I told myself for so long. And I lived by that. And so I held resentment towards my parents for a story that I made up. Right. That's why I think it's really, really important sometimes for us to check ourselves on the stories we tell ourselves around sexual abuse, molestation, anger issues, like all these things. And like there's this Will Smith video that I absolutely love. It's called, it talks about fault versus responsibility. And so it might not be your fault that something's happened to you, but it is your responsibility to move through it properly.
Right.
Address it properly. So you being molested was not your fault at all, but it is your responsibility to heal from it. You know, your partner drinking and whatever, that wasn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to fix your reaction to it now.
Right.
Reminding yourself, you know, like he's not, like the amount of times that you've been like, it's been this many months and this many weeks and you're celebrating him all the time to me and to others, but do you celebrate him to him? And just telling him like, I'm so proud of you for not drinking, saying it is one thing, but showing him that you know he's a new man is another.
Yeah.
And you do that by reacting to things differently. So when he does give you critiques in the gym, instead of being like, no, I'm doing it right, you go, right now I'm talking to the old you that used to drink and let me down all the time and piss me off and make me angry. That's not you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not that person. And it's a learning for the both of you. Like it's incredible what the both of you have gone through.
Yes.
So he's like stopped drinking completely since you started this challenge.
Yeah.
And what does your guys' relationship look like now?
Better than last year.
Yeah.
He's more motivated to not only go to the gym, but he's there for the kids as well for me. And I really can't, there's so much that he has accomplished these past couple of months. Not only just losing the weight, but he's gaining a lot of respect at work because of the amount of days that he's wanting to take in on Saturdays. And I've also kind of learned that, you know, he's not out there going to go see other women. Like, you know, I was like that stay-at-home mum, like, where are you?
Yeah.
Like, you need to come home. And, I had to really, like, back off a little bit from him. He's doing him. He is doing the best he can. He's not drinking anymore, Joy. Just leave him alone. Let him be. Let him do his thing. Straight after that, you know, we get a babysitter and then we go to the gym and let off some steam over there. And yeah, I love that we even see the other OTB members as well. And, you know, him actually hanging out with Bill and Dan and Jackson. Yeah. It's been one of the best scenes I've seen in so long for him. Yeah. Only because he used to be just drinking with all these other 20-year-olds and, you know, nothing wrong with their lives, but it just wasn't what I wanted him to do. He should be past that.
Well, you guys, you're wanting to put together a family unit. Yeah. And like, because you've got 3 boys, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you want to have a role model, not just in him, but in you as well for your 3 boys. Yeah. Because what your boys see in your relationship is what they'll expect in theirs.
Yes.
So if they see an angry woman and a this and a that, that's what they'll think, like, that's the kind of woman that I'll be with and that's how I react to things and that's what our relationship looks like. If they see that dad gets pissed at mum and then goes and has a drink or whatever, that's what they'll expect. Whereas like you want to put the best view in front of your boys' eyes so that that's the norm for them. And they expect nothing less. And hey, look, if they end up getting in a bad relationship, at least they'll be able to see that this is not like mum and dad's relationship. This is different. This doesn't seem right. Yeah. You know? And so for you to have those expectations of him is totally normal, to be like, come on, man. Like, please don't drink with these young kids. Like, all good for them to be out drinking, but like, I don't want that for us. Yeah. It sounds like you guys are on like a journey together now, as opposed to before it was like on these separate journeys with kids together, but like at each other's throats all the time.
Yeah.
You guys seem so much more united now.
Yes.
What are the biggest changes you've noticed in yourself?
My body, and just our finances, eating healthier as well. And when it comes down to finances, because finances for me, before, I would always be stressing out.
Yeah.
And, with doing our grocery shopping has just gone down to I just like our weekly expenses that we spend on our groceries. And
Yeah.
another change.
What about as a mum? How have you changed as a mum?
Oh, I'm more up and ready to, more energized. And I feel like I'm now, oh man, I can't explain how happy I feel right now with the fact that I'm no longer feeling so insecure of myself.
Yeah.
And then just having to take photos of my kids, I'm looking at how healthy I'm going to be next year and onwards.
Yeah.
And then, looking into planning a wedding, when it does happen.
Yeah.
Just be like a beautiful scene just to see that, when we get married one day, my kids are older and they just, my gosh, look at my parents. Like looking back at all these photos, I'll be telling them the stories like, oh, at this time, mum was not in a healthy mindset at this time and dad was going through this. But, look at us now. We fought through it. We went through the trenches. We're here now. And so, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing to have a story like that to tell, and like to be able to tell that to your kids and show them photos of like, we got through all of this.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, like getting through, and it's difficult too because they're things that they just sink their teeth into your brain and they sit there.
Yes.
And it's like, do you ever get scared that you're going to go back to that? Is there anything that you're like, oh my God, I'm worried about this happening?
There's times that I do think like that, only with my my reaction towards if, say, my partner was to be coming home late. I don't want to go back to that mindset of like, oh, he's going out to go see somebody, and I'm out here with the kids and people are going to be laughing at me. Just all the negative thoughts. But now I had to see where my life is at right now. I'm doing good. I've lost the weight. I'm sticking to the schedule that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not always reacting towards other people's actions towards me. But yeah.
Yeah. When you were saying that, I was just thinking to myself, because that feeling of like, I'm going to look like an idiot is tough. But one of the things that like has got me through those feelings, because I was super jealous of, like, genuinely, I'm not even kidding you, I was so jealous all the time. Always, every boyfriend that I've ever had has cheated on me, every single one of them, bar one, and he was sick with cancer. And so I always told myself, the only reason he didn't cheat on you is because he had cancer. He didn't have the energy. Damn. Which is a stupid thing to say, because that is like belittling who he is as a man. He would never have, he's passed, but he had so much integrity, like a genuine, amazing man. So why would I say that about him? That's so degrading. What I've done to fix that for myself, because I don't like living like that. Yeah. It feels so yuck. Yeah. And it's such like, you feel like you're in a prison feeling like that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it's genuinely, I would sit there being like, am I ever going to not be jealous? Because I would see my friends with their partners and they just weren't jealous. Like I would even ask them, like, are you worried that he said he's out fishing, but are you worried that he's like, do you know where he is? Like, what's he doing? And are you going to ask him when you get home? Like, does he have to send you photos? Like, are you stressing out? And they'll be like, no, like, I'm not going to, if he does it, he does it. Like, whatever, that's his issue. And I remember just being like, what the hell? Are you serious? Aren't you going to be embarrassed? Aren't you going to be hurt? Like, wouldn't you feel so ugly? I just couldn't understand. And I'm finally now at a point, and this is why I scream it from the rooftops, that I love who I am, because you have to love you first. If everything in your life is taken away from you, you have to understand that you are still the full package, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing. That is the best thing that I've ever done for myself, is any moment that I feel any twinge of jealousy, anything like worry of this or that, or like, oh my God, like oh, what if we broke up and da-da-da. I love Richie to bits. My plan is to be with him forever, right? That's it. However, if something did happen and we did break up, I'm still me.
Yeah.
I'm still the full package. I'm still an amazing person. Us not being together doesn't mean I'm any less.
Right.
Him being with someone else doesn't mean I need to be jealous. Like getting to that point, and like it is a daily thing to tell yourself every day what you love about yourself.
Yeah.
And like start with things like try and tell yourself things that you love about yourself that have nothing to do with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So don't love yourself because you're a great mum. Because then someone will tell you that you didn't do this right and you'll be like, God, I'm not a good mum, so I can't love myself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Love yourself for things like how thoughtful you are and how resilient you are. Love yourself for the fact that you are trying to be a better person. Love yourself for the fact that you have flaws and you are actually acknowledging and accountable for them. That you are an angry person, but you're trying to turn that into being more of a passionate and thoughtful person. Because I'm angry too. My go-to emotion, I learned it from my nana. She's Irish. Well, she was Irish. I'll tell you, I love my nana so much that I got a 4-leaf clover tattooed on my tramp stamp.
Yeah.
What an honor for my nana to be a tramp stamp, eh? I'm sure she loves it. I'm sure she's so proud of me for that. I don't know what I was thinking. I was so young. And I was like, yeah, it's for my nana. And then people were like, it's a tramp stamp. I was like, shut up. It's for my nana. Anywho, but like for me, every time that I ever feel down about myself, I'm like, okay, why do I love me? And also like I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. And in my head, I'm like, I'm so sorry. But if the creator of the universe created me to be exactly like this, with all of whatever goes on up here and everything that's in my heart and who I am, who the hell am I to think that I'm not good enough? Like, how dare I run around being like, this isn't good enough and I'm not I love myself so much because I'm every day trying to be the best that I can be. I'm every day trying to be the best version of me, a more complete version of me. And if everything in my life is taken away from me, I am still 100% a complete package. With or without a partner, with or without kids, with or without OTB, with or without an Instagram, with or without people on Facebook, with or without a group of friends, even on my own, I am still a full package. And because I'm trying to be a better person every day, I am just amazing. And it's things like that. Like I love my relationship with Richie and I love being with Richie. But if it wasn't to be, if something happened, if he wanted to be with someone else, I am still 100%, like it doesn't even rattle me in any way to think that he might want to be with someone else because I'm like, I'm still 100% a complete package. He just wants something different. That's okay. You know, like it's that saying, you can have the best, most amazing, juiciest peach in the world and someone still would prefer an apricot. Doesn't take away from the fact this is the world's perfect peach. It just means this person wants an apricot. Doesn't matter. And it's the same as and that for me, it was so freeing to train myself. It was a training to get to the point where I was like, no matter what I have, just as I am, I'm a full, complete package. Whoever is around me is so blessed to be around me because I give to people. And it sounds egotistical and it sounds big-headed, but I believe the same about you. Whoever's around you and me having the honor to be around you is such a blessing. But you've got to think that of you too.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's jealousy is a really hard one to get through. And the only way to get through it is to fully pour into just you as you are.
Right.
And so for me, that would be like one thing that I would challenge you to just start doing every single day is to just be like, I am 100% a complete package just as I am.
Yeah.
Just as who I am. And like, honestly, your partner has been with you through your absolute lows. I'm pretty sure he's going to be sticking around for the highs. Because if he loved you in the lows, he'll be like, I am sticking around for the highs because like, shit, man, I'm not going through that and letting someone else get the highs. That ain't happening. Yeah. But I just think you're just amazing. And I want to make sure that you continue on because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when it's a physical transformation. It's harder when it's mental and emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a challenge, mentally trying to keep it, okay when I come into the gym. But there were a couple of times where I shed some tears when I was doing some classes, and I just thought of it. I was like, oh my gosh, man, you know, I can actually come in here, do that, but still act normal and smile and high five everybody, take a photo and go. And that's been a training thing for me too. And, you know, I go home and I don't actually let off any steam off my partner, and he's now starting to open up a little bit more on what goes around during his days. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I really was clouded by a lot of things that I was going through, but not with him. And now we get to have conversations where we talk to each other. I talk to him nicely, I respond nicely, and I even stop myself from even, you know, when I know that I'm doing something, I've said something wrong to him, you know, I'll just be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Though in my tummy, I'm like, oh, I don't want to say sorry. Like, I'm holding on to this like pride in me, like, you know, don't break joy, like, you know. But then, you know, the new me now, I'm slowly starting to love who I am. And yeah, just like you said, I really need to give more props to myself every single day in what I'm doing. Because, I mean, this will come down to other moms out there, even stay-at-home parents, actually, us all stay-at-home parents that are going through a lot of things mentally. My family members that are close to me, they would know the lows that I was going through before this. And I'm just happy to see how far I've come now, and even just having some of my friends joining OTB has been good, and just them just saying, man, you've done so well. Like I forget about myself. I always be like, no, that's so cool that you're joining. Like, you know, and then, you know, for my partner too, giving him all the props too of just how much he's lost, and yeah, he's just doing so well.
Yeah.
He looks so good too. I'm so proud of you, babe. You look so good. You should have another baby. And he's like, nah, no more, man. Nah, seriously.
Yeah.
I went straight on contraception as
Oh,
soon
really?
as, after I gave birth to Ezra, he was about almost 11 pounds. And I went through the whole the pain. I was like, oh my gosh.
And you want more kids after that? You're like, I don't want the kids.
I wanted a girl, but then it's like the process of going through everything.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's so much. And yeah, it was draining for me. I was like, just put me on whatever you have, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh my God. So are you all prepped and ready? Are you guys excited to celebrate on the 14th of September at our black tie?
Yes. We haven't gone to do shopping with our outfits and everything, but he's so excited. Zach's really excited to see how he looks, and I was like telling him, oh yeah, Charlie Pombe is coming. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty excited. You know, it's the first time we've been we've attended to something like fancy as this, so it's so good,
and it's going to be huge. Like that's what we're going for black tie event, like school ball, like the best you've ever seen. That's what we want. The other thing that I was going to ask you, I've just noticed that the light color switched, but that's okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you about that, and you can absolutely be like, I don't want to talk about this, but going into the black tie event, knowing that Zach struggles with alcohol, are you worried? Have you addressed that at all?
I did. I said to him, did you want to drink on the night? And he said no, and I believed that.
Yeah.
Like he actually wants to enjoy the night for the first time, both of us.
Yeah.
Actually enjoy a night where we look good.
Yeah.
We're celebrating each other. I wouldn't say more of myself, but I'm celebrating him too.
Yeah.
And just enjoying the whole night without having to feel like we're going to get a hangover the next day. And we get to talk about it and taking heaps of photos, talking to everybody without having to be sloppy and everything. Yeah.
That's
I'm not
so
worried.
exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Like, I'm so glad that you have thought it through and been like, oh, actually, I wonder, and had a chat about it, being able to, because even just the fact that you can bring that conversation up to him and it doesn't turn into an argument, you know, because you could have very easily brought that up and it becomes an argument. Like, why would you say that? I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but you're both just on this journey where you're just so real with yourselves and who you used to be and who you want to be and where you're at the moment, you know, and it's difficult when you're in that middle part because you're so far removed from who you used to be, but far away from who you want to be. And you're sitting in that middle where you're like, sometimes I dabble back into that person, but I'm just so trying to move this way all the time.
Yes.
That it's just, it's easy to be triggered by things and get into arguments. And like, when you get tired and hungry and you got 3 kids and they're sick and you're home and this and that, and it's easy to slide down this way a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I just continuously see you're just pulling yourself back up. You just keep moving forward. And it's more of a mental and emotional transformation for you guys. Like physical is insane. Like the two of you physical, I'm like, that is not the same people. Like there is no way.
Yeah.
But it's the mental and emotional side of it that has just blown me away with the both of you.
Yeah. I feel so good looking back at the old photos that I'm like, babe, look at how we look like back here. And he's like, yeah, oh my gosh. And we both, like, I used to have a fear of walking past mirrors, like just going with my kids, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to look at myself. And now I'm just like walking past, flexing and stuff. And I'm like, I just need to lose a bit of this, and that's it.
Just want to keep working on this part. And the thing is, like, it's totally fine to be like, oh, I just want to work on this, but there's parts of my body that I want to work on too, continuously. It doesn't matter. I always am like, oh, I want to work on that, or I want this to be a bit different, or whatever. And it's okay to be like that. It's when it becomes like I hate this, that it's like, oh, shoot, hang on. Like, just work on it. You don't have to be like, I hate that, or I hate this, or I hate this part of my arm. It's like, cool, I want the underarm to be a bit more toned. That's what I'm going to work on. Right. Have a plan for it instead of just attacking it. And that's why, like, I just love it when I hear women talking positively about their body. I'm so sick of people being like, oh, she's so up herself, or ego, or this. I'm like, you need to speak nicely to yourself. Like, you're saying ugly words to other people because you say ugly words to yourself. If you say nice words to yourself, you will be saying nice words to other people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
100%.
And can I just say, honestly, this is not even part of the podcast. Honestly, every time when I see you work out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to have a back like Jess. Oh my gosh. And I said that to my partner. I was like, have you seen this video? Look at what she did. And he'll be like, see, that's what I've been telling you all the time. Every time when I tell you to do it like this, and see, you listen to Jess when you're watching her reels, but I told you at the gym, and I'm like, oh no,
you're like, it's the delivery. It's your delivery.
Don't tell me what to do at the gym.
It's funny because growing up, my shoulders and my back I was so embarrassed of, because I always thought like, oh my God, my shoulders are so wide. And I was always like, oh, it just looks so huge, because all my friends were like slim and dainty, and I was like, oh, you're like a big man. Whereas now I'm like, I love my big shoulders.
Yeah.
I love it.
You should.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it's great. I mean, like, people will ask me sometimes, did you used to be a swimmer? I'm like, no, but I've got the body for it, right? Like, tell me my shoulders are huge. It's just ridiculous. Because when I was younger, if someone told me I had big shoulders, I'd be like, so I used to do gymnastics, and when they'd like measure you, they'd always be like, oh, you're very broad through your shoulders, or broad through your back. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm huge. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, I know. Get it now. It's insane how much training changes your perception of yourself when you start to do things, you know. And I do the same. I look at other women, I'm like, oh my, and it's so insane to me, because I actually need to verbalize it more. But like, I look at other women with like these beautiful curvaceous bodies, right? And I'm always just like, oh my God, your curves are amazing. But they'll always come and tell me like, oh, I love your muscly back, or your muscly this, or whatever. I'm like, I love all of that. Like, I love that body. Like, it's so crazy, because we always want what we don't have. We always look at each other like, oh, she's amazing. And then little do you know, in my head, I'm looking at you being like, oh my God, look at it. It's like so womanly and beautiful. You know, that's how we are.
And also like with my my cousins that I grew up with, like, there was just always, you know, mocking each other's like weights and stuff. And when it came to me and my other cousin, we both had the same figures. We were small. And my aunties would actually put down their own daughters and be like, you know, look at Joy's figure. Like, she's blah, blah, blah. And then that's where I get blamed for stuff that I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. You were just used in that.
And ever since then, I've been trying to eat. Like, believe it or not, I would go to our family feast and stuff and eat as much as they did, so I could at least gain a few pounds, or just be a little bit chubby. And then it just got to the point where I just started to wear a lot of jerseys and just jerseys and baggy clothes just to look like them. But then when it came to high school years, I started to feel like there was nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
I just had cousins that were just, you know, they were insecure with their own bodies, but I loved how they looked. There was nothing wrong with them. And ever since then, I've been just saying to myself, like, once when I gained weight, like after birth, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to lose all that fat. And so I understood why my cousins, how they felt
that way. Yeah.
But just loving yourself a lot more. And just,
and I think sometimes just realizing like everyone is different, but also like everyone is struggling with something. Like if we talk about our figure, we talk about our body, I guarantee like I could say to, you know, hey, let's talk about the things on our body that we don't like. And it doesn't matter who you talk to, every single one of them will be able to give you a list.
Yeah.
Even the ones that we look at being like, you know, the supermodels and the tiny ones and the this and that, everyone will be able to give you a list of things that they're like, I don't like this and I don't really like that and I'm not happy with this. So I'm like, if you get to the tiniest of tinies and you're unhappy and the largest of large and you're unhappy, why can't we just be on a journey to be healthier? Let's see what our bodies can do. How do we perform? We're always going to be unhappy with the way we look. There's always going to be something that could look better. So like, let's enjoy the journey. Let's focus on getting ourselves to feel comfortable in our bodies and actually be healthy, be able to move. That's why it like blows my mind when people will, that's one of the things that I just love about OTB, but people will look at people that are a bit bigger and think like, oh, they're unhealthy or they're not fit or whatever. Like perfect case in point is Marie. People will look at her when they first turn up and be like, oh yeah, I'm buddied with Marie. It'll be a bit easier. You know, she's a little bit bigger, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I don't even want to buddy with Marie. Like she's fit, man. Yeah. Like when she runs, I'm like, I don't actually know. I genuinely don't know if I can keep up with her stamina. Yeah. She is insane. Same as Marty, 74 years old. Oh, you honestly, buddy with Marie, you'll die. But it's okay.
I've died so many times.
But it's okay. Like you'll die, but with love. You know what I mean? Like genuinely, she is like a freak. I'm like, what the heck? She posts up her runs that she does on the treadmill, and I'm like, you told me you hated running. Like when she first started OTB and she joined the run club, she's like, I don't know who I think I am. Like I didn't even do running at high school. Like she's like, I've never weighed the way, like how much I weigh now, and I'm joining a run club. Like I've never done this, and now she's like obsessed.
My God.
And she runs and she posts her runs up, and I'm like, I don't even know if I could do that, Marie. Like get off the treadmill and stop putting me to shame. Like what the frick? And the same as like Marty, 74 years old. I buddied up with him once thinking like, oh, I'll help Marty. Yeah. Next minute, I'm like, can we go lighter? Like, can you not? No? Okay. Oh, we're doing more push-ups. Awesome. Great. And I'm going to do push-ups on my knees. Like you're doing 100 on your feet. Yes. All right, Mr. Army Man. And I'm like, on my knees now. My bad. Yeah. And that's what I love about OTB. You cannot, it just shows you that like fitness and health doesn't actually have a look.
Right.
It doesn't have a look. Just how does your body perform? Are you continuously pushing your boundaries? And like mental health and mental fitness is so much more important. If you're mentally fit, that means that you can like get through the things like the high roxes, you know, you can get through those classes, you can come in and you can have like what you were talking about, like have a bit of a cry and be like, oh my God, this is so difficult. And then pull yourself back together and keep going. And that's so important. Like so much more important than being like, I'm a size, whatever. That's cool too. But like, imagine being able to be like, yeah, no, I had a terrible day, but I still turned up to my class.
Yeah.
That for me, I'm like, that is growth. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. I've got a few questions for you just before we finish off. Okay. So I'm thinking about women that are wanting to make a change in their life that might be feeling stuck where you were with, you know, they've got some trauma in their life that they haven't actually quite dealt with, that they're holding on to, and might be manifesting in depression, anxiety, anger, whatever that might look like. For those women that are in that state where you were, what would be your 3 tips for them to just those first 3 steps that they need to take to start that life or to make that change?
Definitely go and apply for any gym and just believe in yourself. Take that first step, and when you do, you will start to see the changes that I had discovered for myself. The second thing is to believe in yourself too and to not give up. And third thing is seek help as well professionally, because it helped me, not in the long run, but I have an idea of what I can do if in case I do feel angry. I know where to go and call and start the course again.
Yep.
And yeah, just surround yourself with really good people, supportive ones as well that genuinely do care about you. And pray.
Yeah,
You know.
that's the big one, eh?
Yes.
The praying and the surrounding yourself with the right people. I think sometimes we really underestimate how important our circle is, especially when you're making change.
Yeah.
Like your life has completely changed, which means that your circle completely changes too.
Yes, it did.
Unless they're moving with you, but not often. And sometimes it's really hard to change your life with other people. You kind of just need to like forge ahead on your own. Like you and your partner just need to like blinkers on, forge ahead. It's really cool if your friends want to come along as well, but at some point they're going to hit roadblocks and you cannot be the one to help them through it. They've got to figure it out or get someone stronger because you're on this journey. And I think sometimes we forget who we surround ourselves with is like that saying, you know, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And it is so true. So very true. Yeah. I just want to say like, thank you for being so open and thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing with us because there are a lot, including myself, there's so much to your story that I can relate to, you know, like just the feeling of anger, that feel like you just feel like you're in a prison to your emotions.
Yeah.
And it is so hard to get through. And I think it's amazing that you were able to take fitness, this physical transformation, and turn it into something so much more, which has been, you've like really 180'd your entire family. Like I can just imagine how your parents feel about seeing the new you, how your brothers must feel seeing the new you, how your partner's parents must feel, just seeing you fully changed and he has fully changed. And you've done that with your 3 boys. They're young enough to experience life, the best life that you're going to give them because you had that brave step of being like, I actually need to sort my shit out. I'm not okay and I need to fix it. It's not, someone else isn't going to come fix it. And I just want to acknowledge like how brave that is and how brave it was for you to share your story today. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, sis.
I fully appreciate you. And for the ladies that are listening, please make sure that you share this podcast with someone that you think it's going to help. If they've been through anything similar to what Joy's been through, she is a beacon of light for anyone that's struggling with any of those things. It is possible for you to have the life of your dreams, but it's in your hands and you've got to make those steps. Make sure that you're following along and that you're subscribing to the YouTube channel so we can get more of these incredible women's stories out there because it's her story, our strength. So thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you so much.
See you later, girls.
Bye.